Hi everyone! In this video we're going to be going over how to draw wave diagrams for the physics Regents, and in this case we're going to be looking at some transverse waves. So the question says, on the centimeter grid shown, draw at least one cycle of a periodic transverse wave with an amplitude of 3.0 centimeters and a wavelength of 12.0 centimeters. So let's look at what each part of that question is asking us. When they say one cycle, that's just referring to how much of this wave shape you're going to be drawing. And there's two ways to go about that. I think it's pretty common to see the phrase crest to crest when describing one wave cycle, but that kind of leaves you with a shape that looks like this. There's nothing wrong with drawing it like that, but I find that students tend to get confused and end up accidentally drawing more because when you look at it, it just doesn't feel like a complete wave. So my recommendation is to start from an equilibrium position and then skip the next equilibrium position and then end at the third equilibrium position. It'll look like this, which you might kind of think of as more like a complete wave. And I always tell students, check that you have the full S shape, or check that you go up, down, and back to zero. And that's how you know you drew the full wave. The phrase periodic transverse wave just means that your shape of the wave is going to look something like this. But you could also do it with straight lines, which tends to be a little bit easier, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Amplitude of 3 centimeters means that if you measure from the equilibrium line or the middle line up to the top, it'll be 3 centimeters. You're not measuring from the top all the way to the bottom. And a wavelength of 12 centimeters, if you're doing this S shape, that means from this position to the end of your wave should be 12 centimeters. So this is how I set up my grid. I start by looking at the wavelength. I put a dot in the beginning, and then I know that it's supposed to be 12 centimeters, so I usually draw this dot second, and I just count 12 spaces, and then I know that halfway through the wave it's going to have to come through 0, so I draw another dot at 6 centimeters. Then I add in the crest and the trough. So the crest up here, they told me an amplitude of 3 centimeters. It has to be exactly in between these two dots. So the distance from here to here is 6. So at exactly 3 right here, I'm going to go up to 3 centimeters. And then between my second half of the wave, those two dots, I'm going to go down to 3 centimeters. Drawing the dots is very important because if you don't actually get to a 3 centimeter height, or rather a 3 centimeter amplitude, you will not get the point for drawing the correct amplitude. So if you're short by a little bit, or if, let's say your dot was here, it feels like it's close enough. It might not be close enough for a physics Regents grader. So this is one way that it could look. You can simply connect with straight lines, and that is usually the easiest thing to do. Of course, you can also do a freehand curve, but again, I want to make sure you're touching each dot specifically. And that's it.